Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me today? Just let me know in the chat by giving me a thumbs up if you can hear me and if you can see me, please. I've got very bad lighting today, so please, I apologize beforehand. How's everyone's day going? Just let me know in the chat. Had a good day, had a bad day. Getting a few thumbs up. Perfect. Doing all right. What about you? Masood, I am good, thank you. Precious, good day, thanks. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, my day was chill. A chill day is always good. A chill day is always good. I think we are around the amount that we are expecting today. So, we can begin. So, first off, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has joined. All of you, thank you so much. Similar to last week, we are continuing with WordPress, designing with Elementor. Now, there is something that we need to talk about in relation to the website. So, number one, we have changed the website that we will be designing. I believe I showed it to you last week. So that will be changed slightly. It is quite a similar website anyway, so that won't be too much of a hassle. Last week, where we left off, we were just practicing with the different elements. So we were using headers, we were using the text editor as well as the button. We went over the hover as well. I will actually show you guys just briefly what we did as well. And another thing is, as I said, last week was all practice. Today, you'll be giving new websites. So I will allocate you a new number and then you will log in. So we will log in the exact same way that we done last time, and then we will begin. Does that sound okay to all of you? And in terms of what we are going to be doing today, we are going to be starting on the actual website. So is there anyone in the chat that was not here last week? Please, can you just let me know saying, hi, I was not here last week. Please just let me know in the chat. So as I said, everyone will be allocated new numbers. So is there anyone here who was not here last week? So everyone was here last week. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start messaging you similar to last week, and I'll be messaging you the number that you are. Once I message you the number, I will change my screen to show the login details and I will explain it. So I'm going to go through right now and give everyone a number. Now, sorry, this is the website that
Brakes. The car was braking as well. That car was making place.
So this is the website that we will actually be using throughout the whole duration of the WordPress workshop, right? So as I said last week, everything we were just practicing. Now this is the website that we'll be using to design the actual website. So I'm nearly finished allocating the numbers, so please bear with me. So Mohammed Abdulaziz, I forgot the website link. I'm gonna put the website link up. So we are not using the same website link, the same website details as last week. Everything will be brand new. So once I finish allocating the numbers, everyone will get the details. So just bear with me, guys. I'm manually messaging all of you. Nearly done.
When you receive your number, please don't do anything. Do not do anything for Natalie to go through how to do it, because you don't want to get distracted or end up going to somewhere, then figure out a way to get yourself back. Yeah, you just don't want to be in that mess, okay? So just wait. When you get your number, please just wait.
So has everyone got a number? Please let me know in the chat if I missed you out. If I missed you out, please just state me. Okay, so no one has been missed out. Perfect. So I'm just about to share my screen. This is the login details, right? So this here is the website that we want you to log into. So this is the www.shapeways.learn.io/SWIO, where you see bracket here. You need to put the number that I gave you and do not include the brackets. So let's say I gave you number 25. You should be putting SWIO 25 / where it says user SWIO number. That number is the number I allocated to you. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to log in. When you log in, you should see the dashboard. You should see the dashboard. If you are having troubles logging in, please let us know in the chat. So there are 3 of us here that can assist you. Myself, Natalie, Obed that just spoke, and Giovanni. So please let us know in the chat if you are struggling to log in. So what Giovanni just done was he put the link on the chat. So what you can do is you can copy that link, and where it says bracket number bracket, take that off and put the number I allocated to you. For the username, SWIO, and then the number I allocated to you. Hi, Afochi, did you just join? Have I allocated you a number already? I don't believe so, but please just confirm with me so I can give you a new number.
And remember, the password is what you see underneath. Next to pass, that's the password.
Afochi, I'm going to send you a number and I want you to log onto the website. So the details are on the screen. We are not using the same website as last week. We are not using the same details as last week. We're not using the same number as last week. If it says page not found, you are entering something incorrect. So you might have a typo here, right? So in the chat, and I'm going to pull it up again. I'm just going to message it into the chat. Copy what I just sent into the chat. Where it says bracket number bracket, I want you to put the number that I allocated to you.
When you put your number, remove the bracket. The bracket doesn't need to be there. So right now, the link has SWIO bracket number bracket. When you put your number, do not include the bracket. Remove the bracket. Can you paste in your URL link in the chat? So copy and paste the URL link that you're typing in. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so So for Kian, I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. You've got the bracket. So I want to see exactly what you have in your URL if it's not working. So you've got bracket number. You need to change the number, the word number, to the actual number that you've been sent.
So it does not need to be capital letters. It shouldn't be capital letters. So Jack, you've got user, it needs to be user page. User page.
Yards at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Lambeth Palace Road.
Dimitri, bear with me.
Good job.
So Kyan, thank you very much for that. Is there anyone who's struggling to log in? Please let us know in the chat.
And also, if you've done it, if you see anyone that put anything in the chat regarding them not being able to do it, message that person and find out what their URL is. Help each other. Okay? Help each other. Those of you that have been able to get it to work with each other.
Masood, guys, you see here on the screen, a lot of you don't include user page. A lot of you are missing out page. Yeah? So it needs to be user page. The SWIO needs to be lowercase. Everything should be lowercase. So Anis has just put something in the chat that is very, very useful. So I want all of you to look at that if you are struggling. Please put done in the chat once you are logged in. So Ali, I believe you was having some problems before. You're done. Perfect. And guys, some of you are direct messaging me on the chat. If you could not direct message, so where it will say my name and it will be in like a blue button, click that and select meeting group chat. So you're not messaging me, but you're messaging everyone in the chat.
Remember, everything needs to be lowercase. I'm seeing some of you, your link, and I'm seeing uppercase in certain places. So for Muhammad, user page, capital U, make it all lowercase. Everything lowercase.
Dimitri, can you add your link into the chat?
The password should be written exactly how you're seeing it. The user page, the letter U should be lowercase. Yep, and the 3 exclamation mark. For the password, exactly how you see it in front of you is exactly what you type in. So capital D, capital M, capital F, capital S, capital W, dot, lowercase I, lowercase O, capital U, lowercase s, lowercase e, lowercase r, with 3 exclamation marks.
So is anyone else struggling to log in? If you are struggling to log in, okay, Jack, can you put the link that you are using into the chat? So this link here that you are using on the www dot in the browser, pull it into the chat, please. Does anyone want to have a look at what Jack just put in the chat and tell us what he done wrong? All right, Ali got that right. Okay, we've still got a few answers. So Jack, what I want you to do is to have a look at what has been put in the chat and apply that. So Dimitri, I spoke to Dimitri, he's all done. He was struggling, all done now. Thank you very much for that. Mohammed Habib, did you just join or was you in or... So apologies, somehow I got cut off and I'd rejoined. Thanks for letting me join in. Okay, perfect. So Mohammed Habib, was you able to log into the dashboard using the details I gave you today? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Nope. Mohammed Habib, that's a different website. Mohammed Habib, that's a completely different website. Mohammed Habib, use this details that is on the page. No uppercase. Everything should be lowercase on the browser. Mohammed Habib, did I give you a number beforehand? I'm just having a look in the chat. Mohammed Habib, I gave you the number 18. Sorry for the confusion. I used the correct link. Okay, so you use this link here. So you're all logged into the website. Is there anyone else who is not logged in? Please let us know before we continue. Perfect, Mohammed Habib. Jack, can you let us know if you've been able to log in now? It doesn't work for you, Jack. Okay. Bear with me, Jack. Jack, have you been able to log onto the website? And when I say website, where you are at a page where they are asking you for your username or password, have you logged onto that page yet? No, it just says not found. Sebastian, bear with me, we'll come to you. So, Jack, no, it just says not found. Okay, bear with me. So, Jack, I've been able to log onto your website. So you're entering something in, bear with me. Jack, I've been able to log into your website. So Temiteo said to you, SWIO in lowercase, not uppercase. Have you tried that? Afuchi also sent you a new link. Do you want to try that? So the password's on the screen. Lowercase SWIO and then the number you have been allocated. So you are 30. So your password will be SWIO 30. That's the username. The password is on the screen. Type it exactly as is. Where you see an uppercase, enter an uppercase. Where you see a lowercase, enter a lowercase. Is there anyone else who was struggling to log in? Please let us know now. If you have been able to log in, please put done in the chat.
Natalie,
Yeah.
I think Dimitri is logged into somebody else's WordPress because he put that in the chat.
So I gave him a new number. I text him, Dimitri, I said, please use the number 32. So is someone else on 32 as well? And guys, please take note of the number you have been given today, because that is the number that you will be using to log in for all of our subsequent sessions. Jack, perfect. Perfect. Thank you for everyone that helped there. So I only had 11 people say done. Only 11 people. So that means that a few of you are still struggling. So that means we've got about 4 more people that haven't logged in.
Guys, if you haven't logged in, please, I haven't logged in. If you've logged in, put it in the chat because we can't see your screen.
So we just had someone new join, Mohammed Abrahimi. Mohammed, have you been given a number? So have you logged in, Mohammed Abrahimi?
We can't move
Mohammed,
forward if you haven't said you're logged in or not. So if anyone feels like the session is being held, you need to speak to your team. Let them know to communicate with us so we can move on. Because if we move on and you haven't logged in, you're literally just going to be confused. The entire session, you're going to be playing catch up.
Going into the
so Mohammed Abrahimi, do you mind just unmuting yourself quickly? Did you just log in? Did you just log in right now?
I'm opening the website.
Pardon?
I'm opening the website.
So what number did you use to log in?
Last time you gave me.
When you say
31,
last time, are you referring to our previous session?
Yes.
So we're using different numbers now.
Okay.
And we're using a different website.
Oh,
Yeah?
okay. I don't have the number for that.
Okay. So let me give you a number. In the meantime, what you see on the screen is the new website, the new username, and the new password. I'm going to give you a number now. Bear with me. So I want you to use the number 33. 33. And enter this all in lowercase. And where you see bracket, number bracket, you put 33, no brackets. For the user, it's SWIO 33. And then the password is there. So is there anyone else who has not logged in? After Mohammed, we're going to continue. And as Obed said before, if you have not logged in, we will not be going back. So please let us know now if you have not logged in. And remember, we are using a completely different website to last week, completely different numbers to last week. So if you are logged into last week's number and website, you are on the wrong website and you will struggle today. Mohammed, please let us know in the chat. So have you logged in with these details, Mohammed? With the number 33, I believe? Yes, perfect. Before we leave the login, so we've just had another person log in. Okay, but what we're going to do is put her into a breakout room. Guys, just a quick one. Please be on time to the session. Please be on time because when people are late, we have to go back and accommodate for them. So now we are going to begin. Bear with me as I log in. So one last time, please put in the chat done if you are logged in. One last time. Done if you are logged in. I need to make sure every single person has logged in before we move on. Perfect. So every single person is logged in. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Bear with me, guys. So can you guys see my screen? Put in the chat yes before we begin. Yes, okay, perfect, perfect. So as I said to you before, last week we were just doing practice. We were just getting familiar with the dashboard alongside a few of the different elements, otherwise known as widgets. So last week we spoke about heading, we spoke about buttons, we spoke about text editor, right? Before we went on to make the page, there was two things that we done, right? So on the dashboard, there was two things that we done, and we're going to need to do it again. Is there anyone that remembers what we done? What I want you to do is to unmute yourself and just state what we done, or you can put it in the chat. Ideally, you can unmute yourself. So there was two things that we done. Does anyone want to guess one of them?
I do.
Oh, you guys are excited today. Does anyone want to go?
We activated our account and changed the site title.
Perfect. So what I want you to do is to pick one of them, and I want you to share your screen, and I want you to do it. Yeah? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
So I cannot, oh yeah, I can see your screen now.
Okay. So to change this site title, we go to settings and then it will take you to general. And
Yeah.
then just put your name.
Yes. So what I want you to do is your name, portfolio, website. So we've got Kyan's portfolio website. So I'm going to, in fact, what do we do after this?
And then we save it.
Perfect.
This is
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everyone 1 minute to get that done. Whilst that is being done, I want one other person after to be confident enough to do the other thing that we done. And I want you to explain to us what you're doing. So just for the next minute, I want everyone to do as Kyan just showed us. Once you've done that, just put done in the chat. And if anyone is struggling, please let us know in the chat. So Sebastian, you said, what was it? Do you want to elaborate a bit on what you are referring to? Do you want to unmute yourself?
No, it's just I was a bit confused as to what it was we were doing, but someone put in the chat that it's just to change the site title.
Correct, correct. So are you all okay now?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Perfect. Do you understand why we done that?
Yes.
Why did we do that?
So we changed the site title to our portfolio.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Well done, Sebastian. So does anyone want to go next? So Kyan already told us what we need to do. Does anyone want to take over?
Yeah.
Explain what needs to be done. Who said that, sorry?
Temitayo.
Temitayo, perfect. So what needs to be done?
Oh, you have to add the home page.
Before the home page?
Elemental.
Pardon?
Add Elemental.
Perfect. So, do you mind sharing your screen and showing us how to do that? Before you do that, I'm going to ask you this question. What is Elemental?
It's one of the editors you can use to edit your website.
Perfect. So, let me explain it this way in simple terms. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Shopify, right? Shopify is similar to WordPress. So what we are using here is WordPress, right? WordPress is a competitor of Shopify. It is where you will put to your website. Now, in terms of editing your website, you will use Elemental, which is in essence, let's say a plugin. A plugin is very similar to an app, right? And it allows you to edit the page. So Timoteo got that perfect. So do you want to continue sharing your screen? And I want you to walk us through that process and literally explain it to us as well. Don't just do it.
So you're going to go to Appearance. That's where you go to find themes for your website.
Perfect.
Elemental's here. You want to activate it.
Perfect. Done.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys about 30 minutes to a second to activate your Elementor. Just put done in the chat if you have done that. Thank you so much for that, Timoteo. If anyone is struggling, please let us know in the chat. Perfect. So now, what I want you to do is to tell me, if I want to create a new page, what do I do?
You go to pages and add pages.
Perfect. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
And then it will say, so you click on pages and it will say add pages here.
Yep. Alternatively, what can you do?
You could go to the other section as well, down below, right here.
Perfect. Perfect. So talk us through this.
Now you put
We're making a home page.
yeah, so Kayan's home page.
You can just put home. Just put home page. So it's just a lot easier. Perfect. Now, I want you to pause there. Don't do anything more. Can everyone add in a page? And that's it. I want you to add in the page and name the page. I don't want you to do anything else. Once you've added in your page and you've changed the name, I want you to put done in the chat. Perfect. Now, something that we didn't do last week, right? Last week we used a different method. What I want us to do is to select template over here. And then I want you to select Elementor full width. So on the right-hand side of the page, you will see template. I want you to click default template and change it to elemental full width. And what that is doing is when you create your page, it makes sure that we are using the full width of the screen, right? Last week, we used a different method. Last week, we was on the page and then we went on to settings. But I wanted to show you an alternative method to get this done, right? So template, on the drop down, I want you to select elemental full width. Now, if you did not activate elemental properly, you would not see elemental full width. So is there anyone having troubles with seeing elemental full width? Perfect. So what we are now going to do is we are going to select publish, which is in essence our saving the page, right? Once you've selected publish, you will see home is now live. Then I want you to select edit with Elementor. And this is what you will see. Is everyone here? Just just state done in the chat, just so that we know that everyone's on the same place right now. So I'm just reloading my page because it didn't load properly. So everyone's here. No one's having problems. Perfect. And guys, so Muhammad Habib, you stated it doesn't say template. Muhammad, do you want to unmute yourself quickly and share your screen?
Okay.
You haven't shared your screen yet.
Sorry. It's not letting me share my screen.
It's not letting you share your screen.
No.
So at the bottom on Zoom, can you
Yeah.
see share screen in big bold?
Yeah, I pressed that.
When you press it, does it give you different squares?
It says Chrome tab or window or entire screen, and at the
Okay.
bottom right, it says
Okay.
share, but the share button I can't press it.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't matter.
you haven't selected a screen yet. So maybe you have different tabs. So what it's telling you is which tab do you want to share?
Yeah.
Or maybe you might have, let's say, your email up. You might have Zoom up. You might have the calendar up. So what it's telling you is which one do you want to share? So perfect. So what this is doing, perfect.
If you look below, it doesn't say template.
It says template. Perfect.
Yeah. Full width.
Perfect. So what do you do now?
Great. And then you said something about
Guys, do you want to help him in the chat?
we said edit with Elementor, I think you said.
Before that, we select something else. Have a look in the chat.
Publish.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Now, publish again. Now, what do we do? You said it before.
Sorry, edit with Elementor.
Perfect. Edit with Elementor. Well done, guys. Perfect. Is there anyone else? So just X that for me. So go back on the website and then X will that pop up. Perfect. Is there anyone else that is struggling to log in? Anyone else? Is everyone on this page? Now, where it says DMF, guys, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So where it says DMF group 2, that is the website name that I asked all of you to change, right? So because we have two groups, we have yourself and another group, I just named this DMF group 2, right? So this should be your name, portfolio, website. Now, I just want to briefly go through a few things that we discussed last week. Now, this should be simple because we discussed this last week and everyone was there. So, does someone want to tell me how to add, let's say I want to add a container, right? Someone talk me through that process. Anyone want to nominate themselves? Remember, all of you are on mute.
You could either drag it from layout on the left, or you could press the plus sign where it says add widget here.
Perfect. So let's say where it says add widget here, we select that. Does someone want to talk to me about the difference between a flex box and a grid? Anyone want to nominate themselves? You do not have to be completely right. We can always ring a friend and people can always jump in.
The flex box allows you to adjust. It just makes it more flexible, and the grid, you're kind of restricted.
Perfect, perfect. Does anyone want to add to what Precious said? Is there anything that she missed, or was she just spot on? Precious, very, very good. So just to elaborate on what Precious said, a flex box is quite flexible, as it says in its name. So you see here, we have a very long rectangle, and then we have two small squares, right? So you can change the size of things here. You can drag it to make it bigger or smaller. And you see these gaps in between, you can alter the size of those gaps. When it comes to grid, everything is quite rigid, so it's not as flexible. So majority of the time, if you are creating a website, you'll be using a flex box. But let's say you wanted to make an area on your page whereby you have 4 different things or 6 different things. A grid might be the best thing for you to do depending on the design. But majority of the time, you should be using a flex box, right? Now, talk to me about the structure. So right now, let me just recap. If I wanted to add in a container, what we will be using is a flex box. Now, when you select flex box, it gives you these options, right? So you've got the container, then you have different sections within the container. This one, for instance, you have 4 different sections. Does someone want to talk to me about this arrow going down and this arrow going right?
Let's say you want to add your widgets vertically, you would use the arrow going down. It allows you to add your components and widgets one after each other.
Perfect.
Bottom, whereas the arrow pointing right allows you to place your widgets and components from left to right.
Perfect. So I'm just going to elaborate on that. So this is our container here. And we know this is our container because of this up here at the top. And you can also see that you have got a highlight of purple. Another way that you know that you are editing a container is because of this part here, edit container, right? And a container is very important because inside the container, that is where you add your different elements. So does someone want to tell me how to add, let's say I want to add in a header. Does anyone want to tell me how to add a header?
You either double click heading or you drag it.
Perfect. Now, what's the difference if I drag and if I double click?
If you drag it, I think you can like choose where you put it.
Perfect.
If you double click, it just doesn't directly.
If I double click where?
It makes it go directly below.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Who was that, sorry?
Mohammed.
Mohammed Abdulaziz. Perfect. Thank you so much. Spot on. So we've got our container here. And remember, inside our container is where we add our different widgets, right? So I said I wanted to add in a heading. There's 2 ways you can add in a widget. You can either click and drag. And when you drag, what is this purple line? Does anyone want to tell me what this purple line is?
It shows where where it's gonna go, if that makes sense.
Perfect. So it shows the position where this is going to be. Right. So that's one way you can add in a widget. The second way you can add in a widget is by double clicking. But when you double click, it goes directly below the previous widget, right? So let's say I double click, you see I clicked on image and it's gone directly below the heading, right? So I'm just gonna close that and I'm gonna do that again. Remember, we are using the downward. We are using the downward direction. So that means whatever widget we put in here is going to stack up, right? So let's say I'm putting a heading. I'm gonna drag in the heading, right? If I want to add in another widget, where do I go to add in another widget into the same container?
Press the plus button in the left top corner.
Perfect. Right. Now let's say I want to add text editor, right? Again, I can drag or I can double click. You'll see that it's gone directly below. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between this downward direction and the right direction. And I'm going to add in the exact same widgets, right? And you'll notice I've got two containers here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a heading. Cool. We've got that there. Now text editor. In fact, let me double click that. You'll see it has gone side by side, right? Mind you, I'm going to explain this again. We've got a container. Inside the container is where you put your different widgets, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Just put yes in the chat if that makes sense. Please, guys, if you want me to go over anything again, I am more than happy to speak about it 10 times. I don't want any of you to think any question is silly. Yeah? Perfect. So everyone seems to get that. Now, let us say I want to edit this heading here, right? I want to edit, in fact, let me delete this one. Let's say I want to edit the heading that we've got. Someone explain to me how I do that. Does anyone want to explain to me how I edit this?
If you hover over the one you want to edit, you could press the pencil on the right and it will allow you to edit it.
Perfect, right? And how do I know what I'm editing? You can answer the question again or someone else can jump in.
It's kind of highlighted around it.
Perfect, right? And what else? How else? So what he mentioned is you can see this highlighted box, right? Notice the container that it's in is also highlighted, but it's not the banner, the border is not as bold as what we have actually selected. So you can see the container has been highlighted because the heading is inside the container, but in terms of what we've actually clicked, it is highlighted a bit bolder. So what he mentioned is if I want to edit it, I can click the pencil or I can just click the item, right? So I asked the question, how do I know what I'm editing? He said, you can see this banner here, this thicker border. What else is an indication of what I'm editing?
On your left, it says heading, and then the title is the thing you've wrote there. So add your title. Add your heading text here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're close. What you're saying is not wrong. It is true, but there is something else.
The blinking line.
Pardon?
You know, like next to here when you're editing it, it's like there's a blinking line or something.
True, true. But what you guys are saying is specific to the heading. Let's say I've got, in fact, let me add an image, right? If I've got an image, this heading will not be there, right? So what else? You guys are in the correct place. You are nearly there. So Ali has got it spot on. Thank you very much for that, Ali. So let's say I'm editing the header. What you see here is edit heading. So this heading bit here indicates to us what area we are editing or what element or widget we are editing. So let me just say that again. Right now, it's not a problem because we only have 2 widgets on our page. We have a heading and we have an image. If we were to actually build out the website, we're going to have several different widgets on our page. We might have a heading, we might have 5 headings, we might have 3 images, we might have a video, we might have 5 buttons, right? So just to repeat that, if we want to know what we are editing, you will see that there is a purple line or border, and you can also see here, it tells you what you are editing. So I'm just going to delete the container. Now, when it comes to me deleting a container, if I delete the container, is everything inside the container going to get deleted? Just put a yes or no in the chat. Let me ask that question again. If I was to delete this container, is everything inside the container going to be deleted? Perfect. We've all got that spot on. Yes. Right? So you need to be very, very careful, because if I want to delete just the image, what do I do if I want to delete just the image? Does anyone want to unmute themselves and explain to me how to delete just the image?
Right click.
Right click where?
The
You're
part.
correct. You're correct. Where am I right clicking?
Go onto the image and right click maybe.
The pencil.
Perfect. The pencil, right? So remember, if I want to do anything to the widget, I'm going to look for the pencil. If I want to edit the widget, if I want to change the color, if I want to change the style, the content, I'm going to look for the pencil. Now, if I want to delete, I'm just going to simply right click, and then you see delete. Now, going back to what I said before about deleting the container. Inside this container, we have a heading and we have the text editor, right? If I was to delete this, everything goes. If I delete the container, everything goes. So it's very important for you to understand what you are deleting. If you don't mind everything on the page or everything within your container being deleted, you will have to delete that widget individually, the same way we deleted the image. So let me repeat that. If you want to delete everything inside the container, you can delete the container. But let's say you've got 3 widgets inside the container and you want to just delete one, you have to delete that individually. Put a thumbs up in the chat if that makes sense. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect. So guys, we've literally just gone over what we done last week. We went over the simple stuff. Now, what I would say to you is, if you understand everything I mentioned, this is going to be simple. Again, if you don't understand anything, please do not feel shy to ask us in the chat. If you do not understand something, there is a high probability there might be someone else in the chat that does not understand. So, before we start building, we need to see what we are building. Now, this is the website that we are building, right? This is the website. So I'm just going to scroll quickly for you to be able to see. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this website in the chat. So all of us are able to have a look at this website. And what I want you to do, similar to myself, is have that as a tab open. Ideally, on the same window. So you see, I've got this tab here and I've got this tab here. So it's a lot simpler. So I'm just going to give you guys maybe about 10, 20 seconds just to get that website up. Now, what I want us to do is to briefly talk about the structure of this website, right? It's not anything we haven't done before. Have a quick look. And I want you guys to tell me the structure of this website, right? And when I say structure, I'm going to be asking, what widget is this? What widget is this? What widget is this? An example. I'm going to be asking you, what is this? And I want you guys to say it is a button. I'm going to ask you, what is this? And I want you guys to tell me it is a heading, right? I'm going to ask you, what is this? And I want you to tell me the answer. And I want you to also start looking at, where are the containers, right? How do you know it is a container, right? So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes just to individually scroll through the website. And then we will continue with our exercise. I want you guys to be looking at things like the font. If there is a hover, what widget are we using? Where does the container end? Where does the container finish? If certain things are images, if the container is going downwards, or if the container is going from left to right, and how we will know that. So I'm just going to give you guys about 2 minutes to have a brief look at the website before we continue. You guys are doing great so far. I'm really liking all of the feedback from you guys, all the interaction. I'm just going to give you guys about 30 seconds left. Okay, guys, so let's revert back. And I want all of you to be looking at my screen, and this is going to be interactive. So I want you guys to just call it out to me. If I ask you a question, please feel free to call it out. If you want, you can put it in the chat, but trust me, someone will beat you to it. So please just unmute yourself and you can begin to talk. So the first thing that I want to ask is, what is this section here called? The top section of a website.
Navigation bar.
So someone said navigation. This section is not called a navigation, but where is the navigation?
On the other side.
Here?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is the navigation button, right? So this is your menu. So that one we've got correct. But in terms of this section, on a website, what is the top section on a website called?
Is it a banner?
The banner, that's not the banner. The banner is somewhere. I'm talking about this. Hold that answer though, because that answer is correct for the page, but not this section here. Just look at where my cursor is. I'm referring to this section here. At the top of a website, what is it called? A header. Perfect, Jack. Now, let me scroll all the way down. If this is the header, what is this section here? This black section. Perfect, Jack, a footer. Perfect, perfect. So we've got our header here and we've got our footer. So when it comes, in fact, footer, we will talk about that after. So now let's talk about the actual header, right? Can someone talk to me a bit more about this header? So what is this here? And we've already spoke about this is a navigation, But would you say that in this section, how many columns do we have? How many columns do we have? So Sebastian said 6. Does anyone want to agree or disagree? Ofochi said 6. How many sections do we have inside this header container? How many sections? We've got 5. Okay. 5. So every single one of you guys are wrong, right? And let me say this. So we've said this here is the navigation. All of this is the navigation. So if I was to go back here, right? All of this here is the menu. It is the menu, right? So that should help you guys. This is one section here. Precious, spot on. We've got 2, right? Precious, do you want to unmute yourself and explain? If that was just a wild guess, lucky you, that's perfectly fine. But if you know why, please let us know.
Is it because on the right, obviously that's the menu, the navigation section,
Perfect.
and on the left, I'm guessing that's like when you click it, it goes back to the home page.
Perfect.
So that's like almost like a profile homepage thing.
Perfect. So what we've got here is the logo, right? The logo. So now, if we go back to this here, if we go back to the flex box, is this going down or is it going sideways? Is this container downwards or sideways? Just let me know in the chat. Sideways, perfect. It's not stacked up. If you look here, what I've highlighted, that is stacked up, one below the other. This is side to side, right? And as I said, and as Precious said, this is one section. We don't count this as one, and this as one, and this as one, right? Because all of this is one widget, which is your menu or your navigation button. And here is your logo. Does that make sense? Put a yes in the chat if that makes sense. So Aisha is back in. Aisha, do you mind unmuting yourself and letting us know where you left off? And what I will do is everyone in the chat will work together to get you back to speed. Aisha? Aisha, do you mind unmuting yourself? Aisha, please let us know where you are. Aisha, can you hear me? Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me, because we're going to have to continue if you can't. I have no idea what this is. Bear with me, guys. I think someone is messing with the screen. So Aisha, can you unmute yourself now? Aisha, you're not on mute. You're not on mute, Aisha. So Aisha, I'm going to give you a second just to sort yourself out, sort out your mute button. Please let me know once that is done. So we're just going to continue. So someone said banner. Where is the banner here? Where is the banner here? Guys, you can unmute yourself and talk. Where is the banner here?
It's at the top.
At the top where?
Like of the page.
So are you referring to, tell me where it starts and where it stops?
I think it starts with the logo.
We discussed this part here is the header.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, where would you say the banner is? Do you want to call a friend?
Yeah.
Anyone? Anyone want to join? Where is the banner?
I think the banner was where the banner is where the social media is.
Here?
Yeah.
Not quite. So what
Is
you're
the
trying to
banner-
say is this here is the banner.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Is
Anyone
the banner
want to join?
where it says a heading?
Here?
Yeah.
So this is inside the banner. I'll say that.
From the
So
top
where does the banner start?
to start under the navigation bar and the header.
Perfect.
And then
Perfect.
just before.
Perfect. 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 So that was absolutely right. And Sebastian has said that as well. So it starts here. You see how this is white and then it goes into this gray image and then it will end here. And how do we know that it starts here and it ends here and it ends here? How do we know? Does anyone want to take a wild guess?
The color change, maybe?
Perfect. Right? So that in itself tells you that this here and this here is a container. And this is another container, right? Now, we spoke about banners. Does anyone want a type of banner is a slide, right? A slide. In this case, we just have a static banner. Then we have a slide. Does anyone know the difference between a static banner and a slide? Anyone
Static.
want to take a wild guess?
Where the image stays the same, whereas the slide is like a slideshow.
Perfect.
Is
Perfect, right? Perfect, perfect, perfect. So with a slide, normally it will be moving, right? So this will be changing into something else. With a static banner, right, it's something like this. It doesn't change, right? It does not change at all. Now, inside this, we have a few widgets. I want you guys to start thinking about what widget this is. It's something that we done last week. We done all of that last week. Before we do this, I want to say something. So on WordPress, on Elementor, right? Because there is words on this, we are going to be using a slide to create this section here, right? And that's because we've got a few widgets. But does anyone want to tell me what this is here? And when I say what this is, I'm referring to this element here. So what widget is this that I've highlighted?
Heading.
Heading, perfect. Then we've got what here? I'm going to go back here so you can see.
Text.
Text what?
Editor.
Perfect. Then we've got what here?
button.
Perfect. Now, how do we know? Can someone, in fact, explain a bit more to me about this button? So this is me not clicking on a button. This is me clicking on a button. Can you see that? Someone explain to me what happens when I click on a button.
It moved.
It moves. Perfect. Right? So when I hover over the button, it moves. Right? And when I click on the button, in fact, how do I know I can click on it and there's a link behind it? How do I know?
The cursor changes to
Perfect. Perfect. So Look at the cursor when I'm not clicking. Look at the cursor when I do click. So that shows you there is a link involved. Now, when I hover, as you guys have correctly identified, there is a little bit of a shake, right? The button moves. Let's say I didn't want to add a shake. What is something else I can do? We done this last week. So as opposed to adding a shake, you might do what? Just to show that this is,
Make
you
it
can
change
click on it.
color.
Pardon?
You could make it change color.
Perfect. 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 And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a different website just to show you what we are referring to. I think this website has one. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't have one. Okay. So last week we spoke about the hover of a button and changing the color when we actually hover over it, right? Perfect. So we've got this done. Absolutely perfect. Now, there's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about this navigation button, and I slightly forgot, but I remembered, right? I want you guys to look at what happens when I select these different things. So when I select home, you see the page just quickly refreshed. I'll do that again. It quickly refreshed. When I select about, look what happens. When I select project, look at what happens. When I select contact, look at what happens. Does anyone want to explain to me what we just saw? Did we just witness? I'm going to do that again. So let's say I click about, something happens. What we see is different. Let's say I select home, it goes back to the top. Let's say I select buttons, it goes somewhere else. When I select contact, it goes somewhere else. Now let me go back up to home because I want to go to the top. It goes to the top. Sebastian, spot on. So Sebastian said it took you to a different section. Now, something else, it took me to a different section on the same page, right? So let's say about, it took me to a different section on the same page. If we want to be technical, it took us to a different container, right? Remember, containers, this is one container, this is another container. If I select projects, it's taken me somewhere else. And again, it's a different container, and we know this because you see there's a bit of a color change, right? But there doesn't always have to be a color change. Perhaps this whole page background could have been white. Looking at it, you may have not been able to guess where the container stops and ends, but we will talk about that in a bit later. So as we just discussed, when I select these different things, right, it takes me to a different section. Alternatively, what could it have done? It could have taken me to a different what?
A different page.
Perfect. 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 So if I selected about, it could have opened up a completely different page. So what does that tell us about these navigation buttons here? Does it tell us these are pages, or does it tell us that they are sections? Talk to me, someone talk to me a bit more about that. And I just gave you the answer.
They're sections, but the buttons act as like they trigger instructions to happen, which gets you to the section instead of
Perfect.
redirecting to a different page.
Spot on. Well done. Spot on. So what it's telling us is these are not actual pages. So remember, if we go back to, let me go back to the actual website. Remember pages? These are not going to be different pages, right? These are literally navigation buttons that take us to a different section on the page. Let me know in the chat by saying yes, if that makes sense. Perfect. Perfect. Amazing. So we've spoken about this container, and let me just quickly talk about this, right? These little add-ons here, they are called plugins, and you can also see this here as well, right? If I select chat with me, you can see I can now start chatting to his virtual assistant, right? Now, these are plugins. Similar to what I said to you, Elementor is a plugin. Think of a plugin as an app, So let's say you have an iPhone and you add an app, right? That is what plugins do. So you can have a plugin that allows you to edit the layout the same way Elementor allows you to edit the layout. There are different plugins similar to Elementor, right? So let's move down. Can someone talk to me a bit more about this container? I want someone to be very bold and talk to me about this container.
His biography.
Yep, so we've got about me, but I want you to be a bit more technical.
think
Let's
it's a,
talk about containers. Let's talk about widgets.
I think it's a Flexbox container.
Perfect, a Flexbox. Now, have you guys noticed, what's the direction of this?
It's downwards.
What's the direction of this? These three here.
To the right.
Okay, let me have a pause there. And I know that's a bit technical. A lot of you are quiet here. Before we get on to that, what widget is this?
Heading.
Heading.
Okay, how about this one?
Text.
Text what?
Editor.
Now, what is this? This purple line here. This is our first time coming across it. It is a widget. Does anyone want to guess what this line would be called?
Is it a divider?
Perfect, a divider, right? So a divider is just a bit of a line just to divide, right? It makes it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. Another example of a divider is this here, this line that we have here in the footer, right? Let me scroll back. So we said we've got a heading, we've got a divider, and then we have got a text editor. And we said that this is going downwards, right? Now, let's talk about this here, right? Let's put a line here, an imaginary line here, right? This part here and this part here, right? Are they side to side? This part here, we are comparing this whole section here to this whole section here.
Side to side.
Side to side, perfect, right? So let's say, let me do this. When we are referring to this as a whole and this as a whole, it's going side to side, right? If we're comparing this and this, right? So which one would we be using here? It's two, remember it's two. I said, let's add an imaginary line here, right? We've got one section here and we've got one section here.
The two box.
Perfect, right? Now, let's talk about these individual widgets. What is this?
Heading.
And then we've got,
Text editor.
then we've got,
Button.
perfect. Again, the budget has a bit of a move and the button also has a cursor, which shows us what?
There's a link behind it.
Perfect. Now, if we click that, it takes us down to the contact page. Now, let's look at this, right? Is there any links on these? Is there any links on these?
No.
Perfect. Now, let me pause you guys there and I'm going to leave you with that thought. When it comes to here, so we've got two sections. So we've got a container. Inside the container, we have section 1 and we have section 2. Are you guys with me? Just say yes if you're still with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. It's going to get a bit technical, guys. So I need you to stay with me. With this, would you say this section only? We're referring to this section only. Is this stacked on top of each other?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, if we're looking at this and this, is this stacked on top of each other?
No.
So we've got a no. Is this part here, and there's this part here stacked on top of each other. All of these buttons, let's look at it as one, right? We're referring to this part here and all of this as one. Is it stacked on top of each other? This and this? Just give me a yes or no in the chat. Yes, perfect. So this section here is below this section, right? Now let's look at this one here, right? Are these going left to right? All these buttons here, you guys told me it's a button, but there's no link included. So look at all of these buttons. Are they going left to right? Or are they stacked on top of each other? It's a bit of a tricky question.
Left to right.
Perfect. Left to right. They're going left to right. So if we was to look at here, for instance, we've got a section. Inside the section, we have got a heading, text, and we've got a button, all stacked. Then we've got another section here. Inside the section, we've got a heading, right? And then we've got another section here, which is separate. The same way, remember guys, inside the section, what we've got is a heading, right? Underneath the heading, we've got buttons, right? But with this button, they are not stacked. They're going left to right. So what we have to do is add in another container. So inside this here, we're adding another container. You can see here, we've got one container here. Inside the container, we have section 1 and we have section 2. In section 2, we've got a heading and then we've got a button, right? But this heading and this button, it is going downwards, right? But we don't need this part to be going downwards. We need this part here to be going sideways. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another container inside. Then what we're going to do is change the direction. Do you guys see that? And I'm going to go into this in a bit more detail. But do you guys understand what we just done there? Let me know, and I'm going to just show you now, right? Now, let's say I want to add another one. We're going to duplicate it. And now you can see it's going side to side. But this part here is still stacked. So that is how you can add different elements inside the same container, but put different directions. You can do container within a container within a container. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. We got a bit technical, but I hope that makes sense. And again, we will talk about this in a bit more detail later. So we've gone into this, right? Now we've got another section. Does someone want to talk to me about this part here? So I will start. We've got a container, another container, we know because we've got 2 different background colors. Does someone want to take over from me?
I will.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So first you have a heading.
Yeah.
It says projects. And
Yeah.
then you've got a divider.
Yeah.
Then you've got a text editor.
Perfect. I'm going to stop you there. What's the direction that is going in?
Downwards.
Perfect.
So stacked with each other.
Perfect. Perfect. Now let's look at this. Is this here, the image, and this here, is it going downwards or is it side by side?
Side by side.
And what is side by side?
So I think it's got 2 sections. So the image is one section.
Perfect.
And this other section to the right is another
Perfect.
section.
Perfect. Now
but I think it's all in the same container.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, talk to me about this right section here. Similar to what we've done here, talk to me about this section here. Because you said to us that we've got one section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inside this part here, we've got a container. Inside the container, we've got 2 sections here, right? So you mentioned this is going downwards. Then here we've got side by side. But then here, speak to me a bit more about this.
So here it's going downwards. So you've got the
Yeah.
heading at the top, followed by the text editor, followed by the button.
Perfect. So here, remember, we've got an imaginary box here, which is our second section, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to get this going downwards?
I think on the left, you can change the direction.
Perfect. So exactly what we done before, remember, we added in another container. So we've got a section here. Remember, we've got section 1, section 2, which are side by side. Inside the section, you can see we've got another container. Does that make sense? So what we've got here is section 1, which has an image, section 2 here, which are side by side. Inside section 2, we have the direction changing. So it's no longer left and right. In section 2, it starts to go downwards. So this shows us a new container has been added where the direction is going down, similar to this section here. Does that make sense? Just give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now,
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you know how there's two sections? So you know the section on the right, is that once you've added another container, does it include the heading, the text editor, and the button all in one container?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So let me do that here, right? So what we've done is we've got a container, right? And remember, we've got left and right. So we're going to do, we can split it up like this. We've got our left and then we've got our right. Inside the right container, we're just going to select add, and then we're just going to add in another container, right? Now, remember, this first container here, container 2, that is going left and right. So it's going from right to left, left and right, right? In the second container, we're changing that direction to go downwards. Remember, this is going downwards. So what we do is just change the direction here to go downwards. Now, we can add in our heading. Now, we can add in our text. And now, we can add in our button. But remember, this is still going left. This is still on the left. And this first container is still on the right. So we've got one container. Inside the one container, we have a container on the left and we have a container on the right. Inside the right one, we have another container, but the direction has now changed downwards. Make sense to you guys? Give us a yes in the chat. Perfect. We've only got 3 yeses, guys. Perfect. Now, if we keep on going down, you will notice that it's basically the same thing. We've got an image, then we've got a direction change in another container, right? So what do you guys think we can do once we've made this one? Once we've made this container,
Duplicate.
What do you guys think we can do?
And you duplicate it, but change the information inside.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So what we'll do is just literally make one and then we'll duplicate it. But what we'll do is we'll change the image, change the heading, change the text, etc. And the thing about duplication is not only is it quick, but it allows you to have the exact same settings. So let's say we are styling this, right? And it's bold. If we duplicate it, it's going to duplicate everything the same, including the style. I hope that makes sense, guys. So give me a yes in the chat if you understand. Perfect. Now, what we've got here is we've got 1 section here, 2 sections here, 3, 4. So we'll just duplicate it 4 times. Now we've got another section here, or should I say another container. And similar to what we've said before, we know it starts because the background is different. But as I said to you guys, the background might be the same. The background might be the same, right? But there might be slight differences. For instance, the direction has now changed. This is going down, this is going sideways, right? Then we have what? What would we call this? What would we call this? What is this called?
Is it your contact us page?
Is it a page? You've got to
Contain.
contact us correctly.
Section.
Yep, so this is in a section, but what is this?
A form.
A form, perfect. So this widget is called a form. And then we've got a what?
Button.
Perfect. Then we have our footer. Now, what I want you guys to do quickly is to have a look at this footer here. We've got our socials. So the socials is what is this?
Text editor.
Button.
A heading. Then what would you call this?
Button.
A plugin.
It's not a plugin.
The images are like.
We're very close to image, but what type of image is this?
Is it a hyperlink?
We do have hyperlinks attached. We're getting close. Ali said it perfect. Social icons. So it's a type of image similar to an image, but these are icons, yeah? And these are linked. So as you said, hyperlink. Then we've got what is this? What's this called? Heading, perfectly, perfect. Then we have your text editor. Now, guys, speak to me about this container, right? So we've got this footer container.
There's a divider.
Exactly. We have a divider. Perfect. And then we have our text editor here at the bottom with the copyright. Now, what I want you guys to do, and we've done this before, I want someone to explain the layout of this container and this container. I'm going to give you a few things to look at. Look at the direction it's going in. Compare this one to compare this one. How many containers? How many sections? Right? I'm going to give you guys about 1 minute, maybe even less than a minute. I'll give you 30 seconds. And we've done this before. We just spoke about it several times. So I want someone to explain to me what has been done here.
There's 2 sections.
Perfect. 2 sections. Elaborate a bit more.
So on one section to the left, they've used a header and editor.
Yeah.
Then on the right, they've used a header, and below that, they've used social icons.
Perfect. Right? Perfect. Now talk to me about directions.
Sideways, going sideways.
Perfect. So this part here is one section. This is one section. So let me go back. This is one box, one container. Then we've got another container. In terms of the first 2 containers, they are what? Are they going down? Is this going? Is this container here on the side of this?
Yes.
Perfect. Now we've established that there are 2 containers side by side. I'm going to let you take over from there.
So there's 2 containers going side by side.
Yeah.
Below that, the editors put a divider which separates those 2 containers from the copyright.
Perfect. 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 Absolutely right. I'm going to take you back to this, right? So we said that we've got container 1 and container 2 that are side by side. Inside those containers, what's happened inside the container? Is this on the side of this?
No.
So I'll let you take over from there.
So within that section, he's put it. He's put the widgets downwards
Right. And how did he do that?
by
You can call a friend. Someone else can jump in if you don't know, but you can take a wild guess. We spoke about it before. So let me just elaborate on what you've said. We've got one container here, right? And then we've got one container here. And they are side by side. This is on the side of this. This is on the right, this is on the left, right? But inside the left container, you mentioned that it's going downwards. We've got this, and then below that, we've got this. How was that done?
by using a flex box.
Exactly, elaborate. You're spot on, you're there.
He's using flex box with the arrow going down.
Perfect. So what he's done is, remember, let's put our line here, imaginary line. Let's go back to this. We've got our line here. Does someone want to teach me how to do this quickly? That's a bit of a tricky one, but someone show me how they've done this. So explain it to me. You don't have to get it spot on. So we've got this and then we've got that, right? What have we got here? What's the first thing I'm going to put in?
Heading.
Okay. And then we've got...
Text editor.
Okay. Perfect. Right? Perfect. Right? But notice, guys, this container here is separate and this container is separate, right? This container is going down. Inside the container, we have things going down. Inside this container, we have things going down. Inside this container, we have things going down. But the actual containers is still side by side. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Perfect. Guys, what you lot have just done is you've literally walked me through how we built this website. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take container by container and we're going to build this actual website. Before we do that, we're going to take a 10-minute break. So it is 7:50. We finish at 8:30. So I want you guys back at 8 o'clock. Before you go, let me know in the chat how you are enjoying this so far. Are you understanding? Is it okay? Is it really hard? Is it good? Is it bad? Am I talking too fast? Let me know in the chat how you guys are finding it so far. Masood said, going good, understand everything so far. Perfect. Perfect. And guys, remember, you literally walked me through how to build this website. All we're going to start doing is building it. You guys done the most difficult thing by looking and dictating, right? That is the most difficult thing that you can do. You literally looked at it and told me what it is. So that means you guys are getting there, right? You guys are doing amazing so far. So I'm going to leave you guys. Please come back at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we are continuing. If you are not here, then please, guys, you'll be left behind. So for your break, do not leave the chat. Do not leave this meeting. Simply mute yourself.
We can't hear you.
Oh yeah, Natalie, I can't hear you as well.
No, we still can't hear you.
Yeah, still can't hear you.
How about now, guys?
Yeah, perfect.
We can hear you.
Perfect. You know what, guys? I was saying so many times, put back in the chat if you're back. And nobody was saying it, no one was saying it until I put it in the chat. So now it makes sense. I done a whole speech for you guys, so I'm gonna have to do that again. So what I was saying is Mohammed Habib mentioned that he loves doing this and he wants to be able to hopefully build websites for Shapeways very soon. So the owner of Shapeways is Obed. He was in the chat last week and this week. So he briefly said a few things. So as he mentioned last week, if you enjoy doing this, they have a platform where people that are part of DMF, they can basically build websites for other companies. So a company will come to Shapeways and say, hey, I need a website built. And then Shapeways will say, yes, perfect. We have Mohammed here who can build the website. We have Precious here who can build the website, right? And this is the perfect place for you to get that experience. Here, we're learning through Shapeways. You can do more websites. Of course, it will be paid. And it can get to a point where you can just outsource your work to anyone. You can now start building websites for £5,000, for £10,000. But before you can get to that, you have to learn how to do it. And this is where we are now. So what we're going to do is today we are going to start off with this banner here. So as we discussed, we've got the banner starting here, banner ending here, right? Now, with this banner, can you guys notice that it's an image in the back? Do you guys notice that it's an image here? It's not a blanket color, it's an image. We're not going to do an image. We will do the image next week, right? But today we're just going to focus on getting this banner done. You mentioned that here we have a heading, then we have a text editor, then we have this project button here. So what I want you guys to do is to go back onto the website and I'm going to show you how to do this, right? Is everyone back to the website? What I'm going to do is if I want to add a container, we're going to select add and we're going to use a flexbox, right? Now, in terms of what flexbox to use here, this is all one. There isn't several columns inside this container. If you look here, we have left and right. So we have two different columns. Here, we do not have two columns. We have one, which is just this section here, right? We've just got one banner. So what we are going to do is select downwards. And guys, I do not want you guys to be doing this as I speak. I want you to just watch what I'm doing and listen to my explanation. Yeah? So I'm going to start again. We're going to select plus. We're going to select the flex box. And then we're going to select downwards. The reason why we're selecting downwards, as you can see, this is going down, right? Now, I'm going to add the widget for the banner. And in this case, we are going to use a slide, right? And the reason why we are using a slide is because on this Elementor, the slide automatically comes with writing on it, right? So that's why we're using a slide. As we discussed before, a slide will have several different slides. That doesn't sound right. It has several different images. So that's what we've got here. So remember, inside the section, we have a widget, right? And the widget is a slide. We know it's a slide because you can see slide here. Now we have slide 1. And when I selected slide 1, you can see that it changed. Then we've got slide 2. You can see it changes as we select slide 3. Now, on the left-hand side, this is where we edit everything. And this is things that we done last week, right? Now, when it comes to things like slides, what I like to do, especially in this case, we only have one slide. This does not move. It's static, right? What I'm going to do is to delete 2 and 3, right? The reason why I'm deleting 2 and 3 is, as I mentioned, this is just one. It's just one. It doesn't move. So that's why we're going to delete 2 and 3. But even if this had 3 different slides, I always like to start off with one slide and then I duplicate. Why would I duplicate? Let's say we have 3 different images and 3 different slides. Why would I have one slide and then duplicate that slide? We spoke about this before.
So
Does
it's all the
anyone
same.
want to guess?
So it's all the same, like consistent.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So he hit the nail on the head. So let's say I want to add in another slide, right? I will just select add item. That will give me another slide. But all of these settings here, it will all be brand new. But if I was to just select duplicate, it literally duplicates what we've done before. So the font, the size, the thickness of the words will all be the same. So it gives us a level of consistency, right? I don't now need to go and edit the second slide and make sure it's the same because we've duplicated it. So what I would just do is simply just go and change the words, right? Are you guys with me? Just put yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Again, guys, if you do not understand anything, please just say to me, I have a question, I don't understand, and I'll be more than happy to go over anything. So we've got a lot of yeses in the chat. Perfect. So if you select slide, so here we've got slide and slider options. If you select slides, remember we are still under content. We spoke about the content, style, and advanced last week. Content is where you can change things like the words. Style is where you can actually begin to style the words, right? So you can change the color, you can add a hover, you can change the font, you can change the size. When it comes to content, you will need to be changing the word. So now that we've selected slide 1 heading, it gives us more options to change slide 1. The first thing we have is background, right? Now, let's say I want white. You will see the color will change to white, right? So you guys can see the color is gradually changing. Let's say I want blue. The color will change to blue, right? Alternatively, you can add an image. So if you look here, this here is an image. It is not a color. So you can see there's different shapes on it, and that's how you can tell that it is an image. In this case, we're not going to add an image in today's session. We're going to add an image later, right? But what I want us to do, and guys, again, I don't want you guys to do what I'm telling you to do right now. I just want you to watch and listen, right? Then we have content. Now, content shows us what this is, and what this is. Now, if we was to be building a website, as we said before, this will be referred to as your header, this will be referred to as your text editor, and this will be a button. But because this is on top of an image, because this is a slide, they've referred to it as different things. So this is a title, what we've got here. They've referred to it as a title, right? So if you go to content, and now we can change the content. Then we've got description. We can change the description. And then we have button text. So we can change the button text. Then we've got link, right? Link, if this here, if we wanted to add a hyperlink, we will add it here. So what that means is if we was to select it, it will take us to another page, right? So what I want you guys to do right now is I want you to start to build this out. I don't want you to style it. I don't want you to style it. I want you to literally add this, and I want you to add in the project button. I do not want you to start changing the color, start changing the font, etc. I just want you to put the words on the page. So I'm going to X that. Remember, we've gone to slides. Under slide, we've selected the specific slide that we're on. And then we've gone to content, and we're now starting to build out what is on the page. So what I want you guys to do is literally just copy and paste. Copy and paste, right? You don't have to start writing things yourself. Literally just copy and paste all of this. Copy and paste, right? So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do that. And this is where all of you are going to start. If you are struggling, please put it in the chat. And either myself or one of the members are going to help you. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. It is 8:15. We've got 15 minutes left of this workshop. I'm going to give you up until 8:20. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know in the chat just by saying yes if you understand the task at hand. Perfect. If you are confused, if you need some help, just put it in the chat and someone will come to your rescue. So we've got up until 8:20. What I'm going to do at 8:20 is I'm going to pick 2 people at random to show me what they have done. 2 people at random. So if you're struggling, please let us know in the chat. Once you are done, put done in the chat. So guys, someone said, Jack said, where it says search widget on the left, type it in. So someone says, how do you select slides? Perfect, you guys are helping. One more minute. So it seems like majority of people are done. I want one person who's brave enough to share their screen. One person who's brave enough to share their screen. I'm going to stop sharing. And Timoteo, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect. You've even started to style. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Timoteo. Someone else? In fact, let me select someone. I'm going to select someone at random. Mohammed Habib. Do you want to share your screen and show us what you've done? Mohammed Habib, do you want to share your screen and show us what you have done?
Yes. Give me 1 second, please.
Have you finished?
No, I haven't. Put the the heading and the
Okay,
word.
no worries. No worries. I'll let someone else do it. Anis, do you want to share your screen and show us what you've done?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect, 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 guys. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, let me share my screen now. And I want you guys as a team to tell me what to do. Remember, I haven't got anything here. So I want you guys to literally group effort. I want my page to look like you guys is now. So talk me through what I need to do. What do I need to do first?
First, where it says search widgets on your left, if you type in slides,
Before I do that, what do I do?
Add a flex box
Perfect. How do I do that?
by pressing add next to the folder icon.
This one?
No, the one below DMF group 2.
Perfect. Then which one do I select?
Flex box.
Perfect. Which one?
First option.
Perfect. Someone else take over? Someone else take over, or do I need to select at random?
And then you go to the plus button at the top
This
left.
one, or this one? We've got 3.
Top left or the middle one.
Perfect. What do I
And
do
then
next?
search slides where it says search widget. And then yeah.
Perfect. Now, guys, someone talk to me about what to do next.
You're gonna delete slide 2 and slide 3 because you only need slide 1.
Perfect. Someone else take over?
You press slide 1 heading,
Perfect.
and then you want to change the content, so you press style, I think.
I select.
You select, you press slide 1 heading,
Yeah.
and you press content.
Perfect. Someone else take over? Someone else take over?
Copy and paste everything on the website. Just the first slide.
Perfect. 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 Amazing job, guys. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. Perfect. So all of you should have that. Maybe your background color is a bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change it to gray, a grayish color. And I'm changing it to gray because we're trying to replicate this as much as possible. The next thing I want you guys to do is to do the styling, right? I don't think this is dark enough. So I want you to start to style this. And the font that we're going to use is Lato, L-A-T-O, Lato. And I want it to replicate this as much as possible. Now, a few things. You guys already know how to style. Where do I go to style what we've got here? If I want to style this, where do I go?
Style.
Is it this style here or this style here?
One on top.
Perfect, right? Here, what we have is these 4, in fact, it's 5 titles. How do we know which one is which? Remember, we've got title, description, button. If we go back to content, we've got the title, description, button. So it tells us what is what. So if I go back to style, right? Title is this. And if I select spacing, look what happens. The spacing between the title and the description changes, right? Then we've got text color to change the color of the text. Then we've got typography. Remember, this is solely for the title. And we've got all of the options here. So what I want you guys to do, is I want you to replicate this as much as possible, right? So I'm going to use Lato. I want all of you to use the font Lato. And I'm not going to talk any further because we done this last week, right? I want you guys to do that. And I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give you the hex code for this button. Do you guys know what a hex code is?
To get the certain color.
Exactly, right? And I'm not too sure if I gave you guys this website last time, but Coolers is a great website to see what their hex code color is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get that color spot on as much as possible. I'll say it's this color here. And I'm going to change the name or the title of the button as the hex code number. So now I'm not going to talk any further. I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes to style this way. So I want this to be bold. I want all of it to replicate each other as much as possible. So in the chat, we've got the font, Lato, and we've also got the button color hex code. So I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes to do this as quick as possible. and then I'm going to take over. So we've got about 1 more minute left. Okay. Put in the chat done if you are done. Put done in the chat if you are done. In the meantime, Karina, I want you to share your screen and show us what you have done. Karina, I want you to share your screen and show us what you have done.
Okay.
Well done, everyone. Whilst Karina's sharing her screen, I just want you guys to put done in the chat if you are done. Karina, are you able to share your screen?
I'm trying to share it now.
Okay, perfect. So if you see share screen, select that, and then it gives you the different desktops. I want you to select whichever one you're using. So you might be using Google Chrome, you might be using Windows, you might be using Safari. I want you to just select that. Then we'll be able to see your screen.
I think there might be an issue with my privacy settings letting me share.
Okay, no worries. Ali, I want you to share your screen and show us what you've done. And I'm just picking at random, guys, so please don't think I'm trying to bully you. Ali, I want you to share your screen and show us what you have done. Ali, can you hear me? Okay, no worries. I'm sure some of you are having problems, and I know we are kind of running out of time. So what I want you guys to do is to walk me through this, right? So walk me through the styling. So I've selected slide. We're going to start off with this title. So someone talk to me about changing the title.
We can't see your screen, by the way.
Oh, you can't see my screen. Bear with me. Thank you very much. So we're going to change the title. I want someone to take over and direct me as to how to change the styling of the title. We've already on the correct widget. So we're on slides and I've already selected style. And now we are going to start with title. So does anyone want to take over?
You'd have to select title.
Yeah.
And in the drop down, there's text color.
Yeah.
You change that to black.
Perfect.
Then
What
the type select the pencil next to typography.
Perfect.
First, you'll change the family fonts to Lato.
Perfect.
You might want the size to be a bit bigger to replicate
Okay.
Ram's website.
So let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
And then what I did is I changed the weight.
Yeah.
To black, 900.
Perfect. Remember, guys, we're trying to get as close to this as possible, right? Perfect. So what else do we do? Do we do anything else?
For the title, title.
Yeah. Anything else? Or are we done?
I think we're done.
Okay, perfect. So this is exactly what we spoke about last time. And I want to introduce a few more things, right? So if you look here, there's a bit of a gap, right? So let's add in that gap. So when I select line height, you can see what is below begins to increase, right? So what I'm going to do is slightly just bring in a bit of a gap. Again, we are trying to replicate this. So line height, right? And what it does, it moves this space here. Letter spacing. Every single letter, we are now referring to the spacing in between it. Now, there's a little bit of a gap between the letters. Let's say, let's look at RAM, right? You can see the R and the A is touching here. The R and the A, there's a little bit of a gap. So we're going to change that up. So what we're going to select? Letter spacing. So we're just going to kind of increase it. And you can see slightly, there are some letters, the spacing between the letters are slightly changing. Then we have word spacing. So for every single word, changing the spacing between every word. So this is one word. This is one word, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it slightly, a little bit, not too much. Not too much, right? There we go. Do you guys understand what we just done? So Masood said, how do I change the button text color? Because it doesn't change for me. We'll go through that in a minute. Don't worry, guys. I know we're kind of going over. We'll be done in about 5 minutes. So we have done the title. I want someone to take over for the description. Thank you very much for that. I want someone to talk me through the description. So we're now starting to change the styling for this part here. Does someone want to take over? So we're already on the description. What are we going to do? Anyone want to take over? I'm sure a lot of you have already done it. So does anyone want to show us how to do it? Or do I need to select someone?
I can.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Temiteo.
So what I did here is I changed the text color to black again.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then the font to Lato.
How do I get to the font?
Typography.
Perfect.
I changed the font to Lato.
Perfect.
I kept the weight the same.
Perfect. Now, let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. Notice this here and this is the same font. But what we've done is we've literally just changed the weight. So it looks like it's different fonts, but it's actually the same font, right? So what you've got here as normal, that's perfect. So let's leave it there. Transform, do we need to do anything here?
No.
Perfect. Style, do we need to do anything here?
No.
Perfect. And looking at what we have here, do we need to change any of the line height, letter spacing, word spacing?
No.
Perfect. Perfect. Amazing, Timoteo. Perfect. Now we're going to move on to the bottom. Does anyone want to be bold and take over here? Anyone? The quicker we can get this over and done with, the quicker you can go and have your dinner. Anyone want to take over the button? You don't have to be right. All that matters is trying.
So you click the plus button and make a button.
We've already got the button here.
Oh,
remember? Now we're just styling it.
You go first. You change the color.
How do I change the color?
You click the button part.
Perfect.
Then
And let's go through it this way. Let's go through it this way, yeah? So we've got size. If we look at this button here, in fact, let me actually change the word back to project so it can make it a bit easier for us. Right? So you said to me that I should go to button. Looking at this size of the button and this size, what do you think we should do? Do you think it should be small?
Bigger.
Right? So which one do you think we should do?
Large.
Large. This looks okay to me. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Perfect. So what do we do next?
You go on color.
Perfect. Wait, color?
And
Before we go on color, what are we going to do? Typography, right? We're going this way, right? Chronologically.
Go on typography and Lato.
Perfect. And then?
Make it bolder. So you go on weight and click 900.
Perfect.
And then
transform. Do we need to do anything here?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Perfect. Style. Do we need to do anything here?
No.
Decoration. Do we need to do anything here?
No.
Perfect. Now, when it comes to line height, do you think we need to do anything here? Or is it okay? And let me just change it for you so you can see it a bit more.
Maybe
Do you
decrease
think
it.
that's okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Letter spacing. So every single one of these letters, do we need to add a bit of a gap? Let me go back. Look at the small
yeah.
little bits here. Do
Yeah,
you think
tiny
we should,
gap.
pardon?
Maybe like a little bit bigger. The gap.
Perfect. So we're just going to add a little bit of gaps. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Word spacing. Do we need to do anything here?
No.
Perfect. Remember, this is just one. It's just one word. Border width. Now, what you can see, you see the border has an outline, right? Personally speaking, I think that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Border radius. What do you think this does? Border radius. Let me just move it for you guys to see.
It makes it more circular.
Right. Looking at this, is it a complete square?
No. You just need
No.
to increase a little bit.
Perfect. So we're just gonna make it a little bit circular. Do you think that's okay? Is it too much? Is it too small?
I think it's too much. A little bit.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, thank you so much for that. Was that Mohammed Abdulaziz?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mohammed. So I'm going to take over from here. Now we are on the normal setting. So just as it is normal, no hover. Text color is white. So what we're going to do is just go on to white, right? Background type, classic and gradient. We're going to select classic. Gradient will have perhaps black going to red, two different colors. Remember, I gave you guys the hex code already. So what we are going to do is just change the color, right? And I'm just going to add it in there. Border color. What I'm going to do is change the border color to the exact same color as the actual button. And now you can see it is pretty much the same. How does that look, guys? How does that look? Does it look okay? Does that look okay, guys? Perfect. So we've got people saying good, looks nice, yes. Close to the original, perfect, right? Now, just before we go, there's a few things I want us to do. If you select content, right? And I'm going to press this arrow here that allows us to see what we have done. Looking at the size of our slide, do you think it's too small in comparison to this? Look at how big this is. Do you guys think it's too small? Is it the perfect size? Masood, bear with me. What I'm going to do is, because we're supposed to be closing up, I'm going to do this after for you, right? So when we log off, just stay in and I'll help you out. Or guys, what I want you to do is in the chat, start helping Masood out. So as I said, this slide here, it is too small. The height is too small. So still on the slides, under content, you can see height. So what we're going to do is just increase the height a little bit more. And if I select this arrow, it allows us to see it a little bit more. Does that make sense to you guys? Again, under content, on the slides, right? We've changed the height. Slider options, autoplay, we don't need that because it's just one page. Infinite loop, we don't need that because it's just one page, right? And now it is literally just one thing. So guys, that is us done. What I want Masood to do, Masood, can you share your screen? Before he shares his screen, I want all of us to select publish here, right? And what that does is save what we have. You have to select publish. Now that is saved. In the meantime, Masood, I want you to share your screen with us. Jack, we'll come to you in a minute. Masood, I want you to share your screen, and then as a team, we can help. So I'm going to stop
Can you see it
sharing.
now?
Yes, I can see. What problem are you having?
You see the text color on the button is black,
Yeah.
and I have it selected as white, and it's not changing.
Select it for me.
If I move it around, it doesn't change.
So you see at the top, we've got that arrow where it says,
This
no,
one.
no, no, go down to the color picker. Go down. Yeah. Select that arrow. There's like a nope. 3 to the left. Yeah. Again.
This one,
Clear
clear.
it. Yeah. Clear it for me. And then do that again. Maybe do a different color. It's not working. Bear with me. Go back to content for me. And what I want you to do is to change the word. So
What do you
it's
mean by
supposed
what?
to say projects. It's supposed to say projects.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go back to style. Button.
not sure why it still doesn't change.
I'm not too sure as to why it's not changing. Just give it a bit of time. Maybe it will take a bit of time just to adjust. But what I want you to do
Okay.
is take it all the way to the corner because that's not white. That's like a creamy color. Yeah. And just to let you guys know, the hex code for white, you can see at the bottom, is 6 Fs, right? So let's just give that a bit of time to load. Perhaps that is the issue. Is there anything else? Let's go back
No,
to
that's
that. Guys, I want you guys to notice there's a few things wrong with his, not wrong, but he hasn't done a few things with his button, right? I want you guys to try and guess what it is.
The shape and size of the button.
Perfect. So those are a few things that I want you to fix. And another thing is, I think that the size is okay for now. For typography, it needs to be bold, right? I think let's make that a bit more bold. What else needs to be done? He's got lowercase there. How do you make that all uppercase?
yeah, this one.
Perfect. And what else did we do with the letters? We done something else. Scroll down for me. Something here. We want to change the spacing in between every single letters slightly. What I would do, if you want to make slight adjustments, you can also use the arrow where the numbers are changing. That seems fine to me. That's okay. Where it says line height, let's start to move that as well and let's see what happens. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Masood, one thing I want you to do is you see this slide, you've got a white background. I want it gray. So where do we go?
Yeah.
Guys, I want you to help him in the chat. Yep, you're in the right section. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we want it gray.
Down a bit.
That doesn't look gray to me. That's a bit more of a mauve color. Go all the way to the left. Go all the way to the left. And then start to go up.
Come on. Here, I think is good enough.
Perfect. Now, maybe that might have been the reason why it wasn't going white, because the background was white. So now let's go back to the button, and now let's see if we can change the button color. Let's see if it'll work. Pull it to red for me. It's still not working. Okay. Pull it to white, and then we'll see what happens. Next session, we will take over from there. Maybe you need a bit more time. Now we're done. What needs to be done? We're done with that. There was something else that I discussed. I want you to select the arrow next to the left editing section that comes.
What do you mean?
You see your cursor, move it slightly to the right.
The right.
Go back.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, select that for me. So if you go back to the website, you can see that this banner is a lot bigger in terms of the height, right?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I want you to go back. And guys, I want you guys to help him in the chat and tell him how to make that banner, the slide that we've done, how to make it wider. And I want you to select that arrow again. So that was the last thing I showed you guys. So we want to change the height of the slide.
Go to content.
Content.
At the top. Yep. And then below it says height. So you can increase that and it, yeah. So that kind of fits the whole, yeah, that should be good.
Perfect. Perfect, 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 guys. So that is us done for today. Please select publish so everything is saved. Just before we go, please let me know, how did you find today? Was it good? Was it okay? Was it easy? Was it really hard? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Very good. Thank you, Natalie. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Honestly, it looks a lot harder than it actually is. So in the next session, we're going to focus on getting an image at the back, and we'll also start to move on to the different sections. Sebastian said, very good, I'm hungry. I don't know if you mean you're hungry for food or you're hungry for building the website. As for me, I'm hungry for food. But guys, thank you so much. Same time next week, please. Please try not to be late. And one thing I want you all to do is to remember the number I gave you, because that is what you're going to use to log in. If you do not remember the number I gave you, just scroll back up on the chat and I message you personally with the number. Once you've remembered your number, please feel free to leave for today. Right. Someone said write it on Google Docs. I want you all to remember the number I gave you. Thank you so much, guys. Again, please feel free to leave once you have saved what you've done. In order for you to save, remember, you just need to select publish. Perfect. Thank you so much, Giovanni. So I will see you in the office tomorrow.
No worries. Yes. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
All right. Bye.